Galatians 1 verse 10. For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet pleased men, I should not be the servant of Christ. Now when we look at this passage here, verse 10 obviously flows from verse 8 and 9, where he said that even if an angel or anybody comes, an angel from heaven comes and preaches any other gospel, call that person accursed. We see how radical he is. We see how we should never look at any other gospel but the gospel of Christ, the message of the resurrection, where Paul came and talked about his encounter with Jesus. We should not believe any other gospel and what that gospel concludes. That's what he's saying. And now he goes on and he is talking and referring and thinking back, this is what I believe, to his cursed life, where he was one that was accursed, where he should have been called accursed. I like what he's saying here. He says, call the preacher that brings any other message accursed. And immediately he refers back to his old life, I believe. It says here, for do I now, at this time, persuade men or God? Because there was a time when he was persuading men, where he was living after man, where he wanted the favor of the people in the Sanhedrin, where he wanted the favor of all the big shots. That's what he wanted. He wanted to be the man, the great zealous Pharisee, which would help to usher in this coming of the Messiah by following after Jewish customs. But now he's not trying to persuade men anymore. Now he's not trying to find favor with man anymore. He says, do I now persuade men or God? Am I now trying to please men or God? No, now I'm walking pleasing God. And what he is actually through that saying is that any other message being brought but the true gospel of grace, talking about the resurrection, what it implies, is not pleasing to God. He goes on, he says, for if I yet pleased men, I should not be the servant of Christ. You know, when he was still pleasing man, following after man's systems and the temple systems back then, he was pleasing man. But then when God met with him on the road to Damascus, his life changed, and now he is not pleasing man anymore, but he's walking as a servant of Christ. The word servant there actually means a slave. He says, I'm not enslaved to man anymore. I'm not enslaved to this evil present world anymore, but now I am enslaved. I'm enslaved to Christ. What that means is the life that I now have is not born from willpower. The life that I now have is born from the resurrection power of Jesus Christ, where you can clearly see that the way I speak here, the way I write here, I'm not trying to please anybody. Meaning I am not scared to say what I believe, and I'm not sent from someone else. I'm not sent from a group of people to try and please them. I've met with God myself. I've met with Jesus myself, and I am sent by him. We're going to pick more of that up, and we're going to see more of that in the next verse.